AITA for telling my mom's husband he has earned his place in the shadows at my wedding? BG. My mom had me with my bio donor, otherwise known as bio father, but he bailed before I was even born. My mom's best friend Locke stepped up and told her he would be my dad. And he's been my dadver since I was born. Mom and dad were never together, always just friends, since my dad is gay, but it just worked. When I was 7, my mom met her husband Matt, and ever since he and my mom got serious, I have known he has issues with my dad. It started out slight enough. He would tell people dad was my wife's friend, and not that he was my dad. He also didn't correct anyone who wrongly assumed he was my dad. But then he asked me to spend Father's Day with him instead of my dad. It wasn't pushed exactly, but the tone was he's not your dad, but I could be kind of thing. Then my mom was accident when I was 9, and he tried to argue that I should stay with him instead of with my dad, even though legally my dad was listed on my birth certificate and had legal rights to me in custody. It hurt my dad's relationship with mom a bit, and it meant Matt was always to me someone who was trying to interfere where he didn't belong. My teens were rough with stuff. But the fight came when Matt showed up to a father-daughter event for Father's Day that I had not invited him to and that I was attending with my dad, and attempted to get my dad to leave. Then told him he was not married to mom, nor was he my bio dad, and he should have stepped aside so I could have a normal family. My mom and Matt are invited to my wedding. But Hi's nothing more than a guest, and she's not either. Matt objected to this. He offered to pay, which I rejected, and then he told me he was in the shadows of my wedding and it wasn't fair. I told him he had earned his place in the shadows, Onda wasn't important enough for me to invite really. But mom had sort of made up for staying with him, so he was going as a courtesy to her and nothing else. He called me an ungrateful brat and said I shouldn't be so rude to him. I know what I said was cold, so I asked AITA for saying I really enjoyed an adult-only resort to my brother in front of my niece and nephew. I, 30F, went on my honeymoon recently. My brother was really interested in the resort I went to, how we planned out my flights, the transfer to the resort and stuff, so I was telling him about it. We were sitting in his living room, my niece was playing with her toys and my nephew was playing with his Switch near us. I really liked the resort, so I was saying pretty nice things about it. And then my brother says that he's been thinking of going on holiday to the Maldives as well, so he'd keep this resort in mind. This is where things went wrong. I went to an adult-only resort, as in they don't accept guests younger than 18. I told him this. He gets really quiet. And I'm sitting there thinking *UCK, what did I say? My brother was upset that I'm one of those people that support banning children from public spaces. I don't think a private resort qualifies as a public space, which is apparently what I'm supporting by giving my money and going there. He said he expected it from other people but not from me. This is because I've always jumped to babysit niece and nephew, and I love spending time with them. They have their moments, but they are super sweet kids. And because I like kids, why would I go to a place like that, being the gist of the problem? He's also pretty upset that I said it while niece and nephew were in the room, but I don't think they were even listening to us. Nephew is 8 and he was playing with his Switch, and there is nothing that John distract him when he's playing his games. Niece is 3. Enough said. But my brother still hasn't spoken to me since that day. I normally see my niece and nephew minimum once a week, but he hasn't replied to my messages when I asked if I could come over to see them. My mom says he's just being sensitive about it, and if I ignore it, it'll blow over soon enough.
AITA for getting a car towed just a few minutes after it parked in my mom's parking spot? I, 19M, live with my parents in a small neighborhood with a few condos attached to the row I'm in. We rent out 2 spots for both of our vehicles. One day, as my dad was at work and mom was out grocery shopping, I saw a guy parking his car in our spot. I waited a bit, maybe he was just making a 1-minute pit stop, but he was still away after about 5 minutes, and there were a few visitor parking spots available, so I was baffled why he decided to steal ours. I decided to call for a tow truck, and then they came about 3 to 4 minutes later. I live near a tow truck lot. As the tow truck driver was hooking the car up, the guy came out and saw it. He immediately got into an argument with the tow truck driver and as saying he was only like 10 minutes. My mom got home about half an hour later, and I forgot to mention to her what happened, but 10 minutes after she returned, the guy that stole our spot came to our house and argued with me and mom, saying he was only gonna be there for 5 more minutes. It got heated, but he eventually walked away. Still *ist off AITA?
AITA for trying to restrict the number of children's baths? Hi all, first time posting, long time lurker. So my 38M wife, 37F, insists our children, 5M, 3F, bath at least every other evening before bed. I think it's ridiculous to bath them so often. Growing up we'd never bath that often, and if we did it was normally because of football etc. I've tried to stop bath times being so frequent, but my wife refuses to compromise and keeps doing them, and I don't want to start an argument over it. Talking to my wife isn't getting me anywhere. So I've told her she now has to pay for the additional energy bills over a set figure. Something like 70% of last month's bill I'll keep paying and she pays the rest. I pay the mortgage, childcare and a majority of the household bills. I earn considerably more than my wife who works part-time. Obviously I don't want her to pay for the entire energy bill as I work from home etc., and that wouldn't be fair. Anyway, she's now calling me an *asshole, and I think it's the perfect compromise. So people of Reddit, what do you think? Edit. I feel like a major piece has been missed. When I say my wife wants to bath them at least every other day, it's because she would bath them every day. I know that won't impact most of the commenters, but worth pointing out. Also stop making out I don't wash my children and keep them clean. There is a big difference between not having a bath and not having a wash. We're just talking about lack of baths. Final point. Although my wife earns less, after all the bills etc. are taken out, we have the same cash left over every month. My point is she's spending more money than is needed on hot water for the baths because I take the hot out of my personal money. Putting the cap in means she'll see how much she is spending. Also, gas in Europe is really expensive. Second edit. Bath means sitting in the bath with water, sometimes bubbles and toys.
AITA for refusing to take care of our baby during the night so my wife can sleep. We have a 8-week-old baby boy. My wife, 23, is in maternity leave. I am 24, on the other hand am working an office job. I work from 7 to 12, so 6 hours in the morning, and then my boss accommodated my schedule so I can work 2 more hours from home to be with my family, 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. Given this arrangement, my wife and I decided Thatch was going to do the baby feeding during the night. I feed him and take care of him before going to work, then she obviously takes care of him while I'm at work. I take care of him after I get home. We switch the bathe time or we do it together, depending on how tired we are, and I put him to sleep. I think this is a good arrangement. We both have equal work and break time. When I'm taking care of the baby, she can do whatever she likes. She can go nap, go out, whatever. I do some of the night feedings during weekends. Well, she asked me 2 days ago to start doing some of the night feedings too. She says she's tired because she can't sleep enough, well, during the night. I refused because I have to wake up quite early to work and I need to be well rested at work. I told her I won't mind doing it if I wake up. Anyway, like if the baby is crying or she accidentally wakes me up while getting up. But that's hardly gonna happen because I'm a deep sleeper. I told her she can nap when I get home so she's well rested, but she says she tried but is not used to napping. I stood my ground and said I can't do more than I already do. We're in a tight spot. She's not giving me the cold shoulder or any like that, but I can tell she's angry at me. I understand that she's tired and we're both still getting used to being a parent, but we spoke about the arrangement before to avoid this kind of argument. AITA? What can we do? Edit. I'm reading your comments. You are entitled to your opinion on this, but please be nice. There's no need to assume anything or insult. AITA for not wanting to apologize over and over again for my daughter's upbringing. I, 45F, had my daughter, CJ, now 28F, when I was 17 years old. Her father did not stick around and warily struggled for a bit. Even when I graduated college, I had a bunch of student loan debt as well as juggling rent, food and other expenses. CJ never lacked necessities, but I admit she didn't get a lot of material possessions. I would try to save up as much as possible to make Christmas and birthdays as fun as possible, but she didn't get much else throughout the year and we only went on 2 vacations total in her childhood. We definitely ate a lot of struggle meals and had to move often. We honestly teetered on the poverty line. When CJ was 17, I was finally debt-free, got a promotion at work and was doing much better. I did start to give her things throughout the year. Used my bonus to take her to Disney World, somewhere she always wanted to go but couldn't. It was nice that after years of struggling, I could spoil her a little. She went off to college, and in this time, I met my husband, Matthew. We got married and now have 2 kids together, Jack, 5M, and Melissa, 6F. With our combined incomes, we live quite comfortably. Admit, Jack and Melissa have gotten a lot more than CJ did at that age. I've certainly never left her out. She's always invited on our trips. We pay Idjit her random gifts throughout the year. Birthdays and Christmases are bigger. I'm trying to make Itas even as I can, but I know it realistically never will be. CJ first pointed out the discrepancy a couple of years ago. We took the kids to Disney. CJ went with us. I sat CJ down and apologized for her childhood. I said I wish I had been in a better place when she was their age. I know I can never truly make up for it, etc. I said I know it'll take time for her to heal from that. I thought that was it, but since then, CJ has constantly complained whenever her siblings get anything. I'm always super sensitive to her feelings, validate them, etc. But things came to a head recently, on Jack's birthday. Instead of a party, he opted to see the off-Broadway production of Frozen. We, as always, invited CJ to come along, as well as her fiancé. The whole night, she was spouting and seemed upset. I tried talking to her, but she brushed it off. We went to dinner at show. Jack and Melissa were excitedly talking about it. CJ then butted in. You know what I got for my 5th birthday, Jack? A Barbie from the dollar store. The kids didn't really see the big deal, but the adults at the table understood. I was civil the rest of the meal, but later called CJ and told her what she did was unacceptable. I continuously apologized for her upbringing and she can't throw it in my face. I asked if she wanted me to give her siblings less, simply because she did. She said no, but that she can bring it up whenever she wants and she'll continue to do so. I said I was disappointed and hung up. Later, CJ sent me a very long text, telling me I was a horrible mother. AITA?